I want to introduce you to the next competitor, Mr. Daniel Henderson, the Brewers Cup champion of Ireland. Are you ready, sir?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. Please don't hurt him. You can start whenever you like.
Cool. And time. Hi there. My name's Daniel Henderson. I'm from the beautiful north coast of Ireland. I work for Lost and Found Coffee. It's just my absolute pleasure to be here in Melbourne, such a great city and such a wonderful event. It's also my honor to serve and prepare and especially share this coffee with you today. The coffee that I've brought today is Kenyan coffee from the Neri region, from a little town called Katarina. So it's grown at about 1,700 meters on the slopes of Mount Kenya, which is famous for its rich soil with some nutrients from the volcano there. So yeah, so that's the coffee. It comes from a processing station called Garamboya, and the number on that station is 698, which is an important number. So it represents 698 farmers, which is 698 families, and just an incredible community. So it's my goal today to do them and all their hard work justice in serving this coffee to you. So when we first got this coffee, a friend of mine, John Thompson, brought it in from an importer, and we cupped it. And when we cupped it first, we found that there was these really standout characteristics. So there's this big black currant note. There's also this really nice melon finish, and also a really nice lemon citrus acidity. So these characteristics really stood out. And so John and me together worked on preserving these characteristics. So the goal of this cup was to really make it a clean cup, really clear flavors, and just making it really accessible for most people. So the coffee itself was it's an AB grade, so it's a smaller size, but it really stood up to some of those AA, and we really had a lot of fun working on the roast profile. One other note about the roast profile is that with normal Kenyans, the acidity level's quite high and really complex and wonderful. So in this roast, we took the sugars and developed them a little bit longer in the roast, just to balance off that acidity, which was that balance between the acidity and the sweetness is what I absolutely love about this coffee. When you get to taste it, you'll notice that the acidity and sweetness almost do like this choreographed dance. They interact back and forward, and it just makes for a fun, balanced cup. So my brewing method today is a filter cone pour over. It was going to be a single hole one, but my airline smashed all my pour overs. So I had to run around Melbourne and find some, but these do a great job. So when I approach a coffee, I like to let the coffee speak to me. And so with this brew method, I actually tried the coffee a bunch of different ways. So I tried it in a Chemex, and then I tried it in a French press, and I tried it a lot of ways. So when I first did it in the Chemex, I felt like the character of the Kenyan was less. It was too light, and it didn't really represent what it really was. And then I tried it in the French press, and then we found that the acidity was slightly muted, and the balance between the acidity and sweetness was off. So when it came to this, I knew that I'd found the right platform for this coffee to sing. So that's what I'm using today. I'm going to start preparing this for you. So the brew ratio that I'm going with today, slightly different from whenever I did it at home. I'm brewing about 21 grams of this coffee to 340 mils of water. And we're hoping for that to come through in about just around 3 minutes. We just get the right amount of interaction there. What I loved about this brew method as well, I really felt like it gave the coffee the right amount of body that really matched that liveliness and the personality, which it just didn't quite have in the Chemex. Hopefully you're already beginning to smell it. It's wonderful. So I'm going to start off by adding some water. I'm going to add about 40 mils of water just to saturate it. And what this does really is just let the coffee get saturated. And so when I begin to pour the rest of the coffee through, it's just real easy for the coffee to let go of the flavors. And the pour is nice and consistent. So I'm going to give it about a 45-second bloom. So my favorite thing about this coffee is really, because of its clarity, it makes it really accessible. So I have a lot of fun on the north coast of Ireland. Is not a big specialty coffee industry, so I have a lot of fun with friends introducing them to this coffee, because even though they might not have had any, great coffee before, this one they're able to pick out the flavors, so it's really accessible. They don't feel like they, are unqualified. They can go, oh, there's a black currant in there, and it's just a really great exchange. So, and that's what we did in the roast, and that's what I'm doing in this pour over method, is to make it, really trying to make it nice and accessible and clear. The other part of this coffee that I love is that it gives me the ability to share coffee with people that don't always, just the ability to share coffee with a lot of people without having them to be real into coffee. I can just have fun. I can have people at my house and I can share it with them. And I think that's what coffee is really about, to be honest. Coffee is best shared. And that's why it's just so fun to be able to share it with you today. So what I'm doing here is I'm just pouring in little concentric circles. It's not really any difference. Doesn't make a difference if it's clockwise or anti-clockwise, but I'm just trying to keep it in the middle so that we don't clog the brew at the bottom, and we just keep that nice flow rate coming through. Trying to also just add a little bit of water just to try and agitate it as well. So the flavors in this coffee, the big flavor that stands out, which I've grown to love in this, is the black currant note. It's just so obvious and so delicious as well. What's also great about this coffee is the lemon and the citrus acidity that it brings. And like I mentioned before, it's really well balanced with the sweetness that we did in developing the sugars. Sorry, I'm just gonna get a little bit more. Pardon? 3 minutes left. Sorry, just a little bit short on water. So we're right at 340 mils there. And so we're just about 5 seconds before the 3 minute mark, and the brew's all the way through. So that should be tasting really good. And just on 3 minutes again. So I'll give you that to evaluate the aroma if you like. And 3 minutes again. 2 minutes, yeah. So if you want to evaluate the aroma. So they are in this aroma. The thing that I love about it, there's a really warm and an inviting butterscotch note that just really catches you. In the aftertaste, you should get a really nice ripe melon finish. And as this coffee cools, the wonderful trick that it plays at the end is just its ability to start presenting these raspberry notes, which is fascinating. And it's like, wow, we can taste raspberry towards the end. So I hope you enjoy the coffee. One thing I'm going to do is I've actually brought some samples of the coffee because I love coffee being shared. So before you leave and after you've done your evaluation, I'd love for you to take these home. And what I'd love you to do with them is to think of someone that doesn't know coffee that well and just really serve it to them, share it with them, because coffee is really all about sharing. What I like to do at home is always send somebody home with coffee and let them experiment. So thank you so much for letting me share the coffee today. It's been an absolute pleasure and time.
All right, big hand.
Thanks so much.
All right. Daniel, great job, brother.
Thanks, man.
So how did that feel? You looked really comfortable and everything up there, yeah?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
It's my favorite thing to do.
Yeah, it's my favorite thing to do too, right?
Perfect.
Right, share
We
coffee
can be
with
friends.
people. Yeah, that's right. So tell me, you explore that theme a little bit more that you went into right at the end, because I'm captivated by that, is this idea of coffee is meant to be shared. This came up again and again. You talked about your friends that may not be experienced with specialty coffee, etc. Explore that a little bit more.
Well, we live in a culture that seems to be more connected than it ever has been with Facebook and Instagram and all sorts of social media, but in fact we're more disconnected than ever. So coffee is one of those things throughout history and time has always brought people together, no matter what ceremony or which part of the country, always brings people together, and that's where people come alive. I know that I love community. That's what Lost and Found is about back home. That's why we started it, is to bring community, and coffee is just a really good medium to have conversations, to go deeper in life, and so to balance Facebook, we're going to explore coffee, so that's really why I do it.
And then I love that detail at the end about the idea of sending people away with coffee to try to share it with somebody else. That's something that you do at the shop?
So if not, like even at home, if someone comes around and I make them a really nice coffee, it's just more fun to give away.
Right.
You know, sometimes you only get to keep what you give away, so I get more joy in that, so I like to send them home with it, and they feel like they've had a good interaction, and especially in this industry, it's really important that we take people from where they're at, engage with them, and also, you know, take them on a journey. So being inclusive without compromise and just going on a journey. So that's kind of fun.
Well, congratulations. That was one. Everybody give a big hand to the Barista Champ of Ireland.
Thanks.
Brewers Cup Champ of Ireland.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Cool.